I want to go over a couple of things about running these little engines. I've been contacted by several people now who have received their engine and they have cranked and cranked and cranked on one of these and they can't get it to start. And I guarantee you, if you crank on this by hand for a long time, it can be very tiring and you will become frustrated. If you get one of these and you can't get it to run, chances are you're doing something wrong. On the two engines I have received, this horizontal and the vertical, and talking to other people who have purchased these, it has every evidence of having been test run in the factory before it's packaged. So if yours isn't running, you need to figure out why. First thing you want to do is make sure that you have compression. These have a pretty good compression. When you start them, you turn them this way. As you view the governor side, you're turning clockwise. These switches can be mounted either way. On this one, I believe that's on and this is off. Yours could very easily be turned the other direction. The easiest thing to do when you have the batteries in it, pull the spark plug wire, turn this thing over and see if you can get a spark. When you put fuel in this, you want to pull this fuel line off and pinch it. Get a paper towel and let that run until you get all the air bubble out of this line and put it back on again. If you see an air bubble like this in here, it's not going to run. The needle valve setting on this engine, it's about 1/4 of a turn open. On some engines, it can be as much as a 1/2 a turn. If you don't have any compression on this, look around and find out why you don't have any compression. If the exhaust valve is being held open, this will spin free. Could be a little piece of junk in here. Back here behind this, where the bearing runs on this cam, this here could be, sometimes this will get up here like this and might be got bounced in shipping or whatever and it's holding that valve open. Just kind of wiggle on that, make sure that that's working, and see if you can figure out why you don't have any compression. One person found that inside here was some carbon, and they took the spark plug out and sprayed a little WD-40 in there and wiggled this up and down a little bit, and it freed up. And they had compression, the thing ran just fine. The main thing you do not want to do, don't start turning and screwing on stuff, because this was probably running at the factory before it left, and if you go messing around with the adjustments, we may never get it back to a position where the timing and compression and everything is correct. So don't change anything. Look for a more obvious reason why it's not running first. For whatever reason, it has been found that these run more reliably with only 2 batteries in here. So it's running on 3 volts instead of 4.5. And you can make a blank battery. This was printed on a 3D printer. This is just a piece of piano wire. You could use a piece of brass, and it snaps in there and takes the place of 1 battery. Or you can replace this with a battery pack that only holds 2 AA batteries. Something similar to this could be made out of a wood dowel, or you can connect this point to that point electrically. That depends on your abilities and what you're set up to do in your shop. This is mistakenly shown on the Banggood website that it will run on kerosene or gasoline. It will not run on kerosene. It will not run on paraffin. It will not run on paraffin oil. It will not run on alcohol. It will not run on diesel. This will run on unleaded gasoline, unleaded petrol, unleaded benzene, white gas. It will run on naphtha. Naphtha is what Coleman lantern fuel is. It will run on Zippo lighter fluid. Zippo lighter fluid is the same as Coleman lantern fuel. It's naphtha or naphtha-based fuel. I tend to point people away from using automotive fuel, unleaded fuel, because of the additives that it may contain. If you obtain Coleman lantern fuel or Zippo lighter fluid, that's a pure naphtha-based fuel and it does not contain any additives. Apparently in Europe, pump-up type pressurized camping stoves and camping lanterns run on kerosene or paraffin oil. So when people hear me say that this will run on Coleman lantern fuel, they're not listening to the Coleman part. All they're hearing is lantern fuel. Apparently, when you buy lantern fuel in Europe, it's kerosene. It is not the same thing as Coleman lantern fuel. The information sheet that comes with the engine, at least the one that came with my engine, shows to use gasoline 95, which I can only assume is 95 octane. Premium unleaded gasoline or petrol here in the United States is somewhere around 91 to 94 octane. I understand that 95 octane is standard in Europe. This is a 1 gallon can of Coleman fuel. Coleman lantern fuel, Coleman cook stove fuel, it's the same thing. And this is a naphtha-based fuel. This is not kerosene. It is not paraffin. When I say Coleman lantern fuel, that's what we think of it as here in the U.S. If you look at the picture on the can, that's a picture of a camping lantern and a camping cook stove. So Coleman fuel or Coleman lantern fuel, this is a naphtha-based fuel. Same thing as Zippo lighter fluid. I can't say this enough because of the apparent confusion between nomenclature in the different countries. I am putting just a hint of Marvel Mystery Oil in the fuel. If you put too much oil in the fuel, it's just going to run out the cylinder down here and make a mess. You could use about half this much oil. It's just enough just to barely turn it pink. The next time I mix this up, it'll be a lighter color than that. I have 2 batteries in the battery pack and 1 blank. So I have 3 volts going to the ignition. All the bubbles are out of my fuel tube. The needle valve is about 1/4 of a turn open. Flip this twice. I'm going to turn it on. And away it goes. These are still the original springs that came on the engine. On my vertical hit and miss, I have a video and I show where I've replaced these with a smaller, lighter tension spring, and it will slow this down and make it idle even slower. I haven't done it on this one yet.